everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is a full review. This is Amouage Sunshine Man. This one I've got just a sample of, but when I first apply this one I get a sweetness straight away as the first thing I smell. And the sweetness comes from three things. There's Immortelle. Immortelle is an interesting note. It's kind of multifaceted. It's very sweet. You get almost I would say a syrupy sweetness from Immortelle. Like imagine a thick kind of syrup. So syrupy, but it's kind of got a contradictory nature because at the same time as being syrupy, it's quite dry and a little bit dusty to me. So imagine a dry dustiness paired with a syrupy-like sweetness, with almost tobacco-y like vibes for some people. And so it's quite a sweet note, and it's quite dusty and dry at the same time. So syrupy sweet, basically. It's sweetened, however, even more with tonka bean, and in this case I would say vanillin. Vanilla's listed as the note. It smells like vanillin. It's like cakey, hyper sweet vanilla. And so Immortelle, syrupy sweetness, kind of dry, a little bit tobacco-y, with tonka bean, very smooth, soft, round tonka with cakey sweet vanilla, basically. And you have all of that in the opening as a... Out of that emerges lavender. Here comes the lavender and juniper berry. It gives it kind of a herbal, green, kind of aromatic quality. A little bit throws it in kind of old school masculine cologne vibe territory for a moment, and kind of goes a little bit old fashioned for me. But yeah, lavender, juniper berry, almost has like a spiced quality. The Immortelle, I forgot to say, is very warm. It has a kind of a rich warmth to it. And so with this, with the lavender and the juniper berry, you get kind of this aromatic warmth, basically, under this big thick sweetness. And yeah, that's kind of what I get from the opening. Bergamot's listed, and also orange brandy is listed. Now at no point do I ever smell brandy in this. Orange brandy, I'm not quite sure if that's like maybe like a liqueur vibe, but I don't even get really a liqueur vibe. For me, I don't smell alcohol, brandy. I don't get any of that kind of vibe at all. If anything, maybe the kind of a slightly fruity vibe because of the kind of sweetness it goes to in the mid. But for me, I don't smell brandy. I don't smell orange brandy or cognac or kind of, I don't know, orange liqueur vibes. I don't get kind of any of that at all. It's not boozy in the slightest to me. I just get this syrupy sweetness from the Immortelle mixing with tonka and vanillin, really. And so the lavender, the juniper berry kind of fades back. The lavender kind of persists a while as a kind of a more dominant herbal note, and as it goes into the midsection, it gets even sweeter. It's like the vanillin kind of amps up through it all, and the herbal elements kind of tone down. It gets even more sweet. It gets even more syrupy. It gets even more of the vanillin coming through, and more tonkery as well. It goes through phases on my skin of doing different things. At some points I smell it and I think, oh, this is kind of going powdery, like it reminds me of like a really kind of a very sweet baby powder almost. Other times I smell it and I don't get a powdery thing. It reminds me of like a very sweet, smooth rubber in texture. So it kind of throws me in kind of different directions, and I get different things when I smell it through the first few hours of that midsection. There's also a point where it reminded me of candied sweets. It reminded me of a particular sweet which I couldn't quite put my finger on, but I was like, I'm sure I've eaten a sweet that smells like this. I just can't remember what it is. But there's kind of a candy-like sweetness to it in the mid. I mean, it really does get quite sweet on my skin, and I don't like it at that point. It's too sweet. It's kind of annoying, and it's a little bit overwhelming overly sweet for me personally. And so as it dries down through that, the sweetness thankfully tones down a little bit. The dry down's quite nice, and I get a little bit more of the woods coming through. Cedar wood mainly coming through with a little bit of the, like I say, Immortelle Tonka vanillin combo mixing with the cedar, and the sweetness is toning down as it dries down, and it smells quite mellow and quite nice. And I can still smell a faint little bit on my hand. It sticks to the top a lot better. So yeah, that's about as well as I can describe it. I don't get anything boozy from it. I get mainly Immortelle Tonka bean and vanillin combo, quite sweet on my skin, with a lavender juniper berry top note opening, and it kind of goes candied sweet, almost throws you into baby powder vibes. That's very, imagine like a very sweet, slightly spiced baby powder with kind of a freshness because of that kind of aromatic herbal lavender. It's like green nuances, but then throws me into like smooth rubber and then candied sweets, so it's kind of all over the place in terms of the vibes that it gives me. But in general, I would say very smooth is a good way to label it, and very warming as well. The Immortelle giving it a rich kind of syrupy warmth to the fragrance. It kind of warms you up and is kind of comforting. It just goes a little too sweet for me on my skin. In general, I would say it's unisex. I would say the opening, possibly a little bit more masculine because of the combination of strong lavender and juniper berry, kind of throws it in that kind of ballpark a little bit. At the midsection, you could maybe say is maybe even a little feminine because of how sweet it becomes and kind of how candied sweet it is. In general, it's unisex. If you like it, wear it, who cares? Basically, I just try to kind of steer you because some people try to think like that. In general, I say it's unisex. Try it out. It says man in the name, ignore it. A woman can wear it completely fine. And so in terms of performance for this, projection and sillage is moderate. You can smell it fairly easily around you within a nice sort of bubble, but it's not like crazy all over the place. So moderate in sillage and projection. Longevity being around 8 hours on skin, but a lot longer on clothing before sitting close to as a skin scent. You can faintly kind of smell it a bit after that, but in general, kind of 7 to 8 hours for me. In terms of season, I would say it's an autumn-winter fragrance only. Maybe leaning more of the nighttime, and I wouldn't wear that to work. For me, it's too annoying and too sweet for work. If I worked in an office and the guy in the cubicle next to me was wearing this, I would be kind of annoyed. I wouldn't want to smell that for 8 hours while working. It would just, yeah, it would get on my nerves. I would say it's not safe for work. Personally, I think it's too sweet. It's too syrupy sweet to be work conducive. I would say for me, it goes into kind of a casual nighttime fragrance, and it might work okay for a date. And again, unisex, so man or a woman, nighttime, casual, going out kind of fragrance, date appropriate, but definitely, I would say definitely not for work in my opinion. If it doesn't go as sweet on your skin, maybe, but for me, the sweetness just is too much for that. And that's about as good as I can describe it for you. So there you go, that's my thoughts on Amouage Sunshine Man. If you've tried it or you own it, let me know how it is on your skin. Skin chemistry is pretty nutty. A lot of people, it will do different things. Longevity, take with a pinch of salt, because some people can get 12 hours, some people can get 6. It really changes. So that's what I get personally. You might get longer, you might get less. So, and you also might get different vibes. You might get a strong brandy smell from it, for example. I don't personally at all. And I think it's one of those scenarios where if it wasn't listed on the note list, people wouldn't be saying it. And it's kind of a suggestion that you read, oh, there's orange brandy in here, and you smell it and you go, oh yeah, it kind of does. But if it wasn't there, not a single person would ever say orange brandy. I sincerely believe that. So, but there you go. I think note lists can bias the brain basically into kind of suggesting that in your mind, and you kind of link the sweetness to a kind of a liqueur kind of vibe or whatever, and you go, oh yeah, I get that. But really it's not there, it's kind of an impression. So for me, it's all about Immortelle Tonka Vanilla with a lavender juniper berry opening, and that's it. For me, I wouldn't buy a bottle of it. It's okay. I think if you like Immortelle and you like very sweet kind of fragrances, I'd say check it out. For me, it's too sweet for me, to the point of it being a little bit cloying, and so I wouldn't gravitate towards buying this one personally for my own collection, but there you go. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I shall see you soon with another one. Take care, everybody. Bye.